There are places where we agree on a whole series of policy fronts, but there are places that I think the president can, if you will, elevate his game and do a better job to help bring us together as a nation.
Well, that was just a few moments ago. Mitt Romney appearing on CNN saying the president's abrupt decision to pull out of Syria drove him to write an op-ed condemning the president's actions. Romney says he stands by what he wrote, calling out the president's character and behavior.
And he said he did it for the benefit of the U.S.
Right now, the country is as divided as I've ever seen it. People, in many respects, are angry and resentful, and they want to see leaders who can unite us and push through those things.
Now, Romney also insisted that he is not planning to challenge President Trump in a primary in 2020, but WBZ political analyst John Keller isn't so sure about that.
Donald Trump is a phony, a fraud. His promises are as worthless as a degree from Trump University.
Mitt Romney's low opinion of Donald Trump comes as no surprise. And while Romney writes in his Washington Post article, when he won the election, I hoped he would rise to the occasion, he concludes that the president has not risen to the mantle of the office and promises that I will speak out against significant statements or actions that are divisive, racist, sexist, anti-immigrant, dishonest, or destructive to democratic institutions. Trump allies were outraged. Romney's own niece, Ronna Romney McDaniel, chair of the Republican National Committee, cast him as an ally of Trump's enemies and called his comments disappointing. But the most significant backlash came from the president himself, who zeroed right in on the political implications of a new GOP senator sounding willing, even eager, to break from the party line. Question will be, is he a flake, tweeted the president, in a reference to retiring Senator Jeff Flake, a frequent Trump critic. Be a team player and win. You'll recall that Flake gave the Trump team fits over his reluctance to play ball and his support for special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia probe. But unlike Flake, Romney is just starting his Senate career and has support from Utah voters for his criticisms of the president. He could team with other GOP dissidents to erase the party's 3-vote edge in the Senate. And if you think Romney's not eyeing a primary challenge to Trump in 2020, you don't know Mitt.
Okay, but he didn't deflect on this. He was asked, are you going to run? And he said flat out no.
He said he's not planning to run, Lisa. In Paul speak, that means almost surely I'm going to. Look, I'm not planning to drink that beer that's in my fridge at home.
But you're not ruling out the possibility.
It's a distinct possibility once I get home. Look, the reality is, and I've known Mitt Romney, or I've covered him for a long time. We're not personal friends. His lifelong dream is to avenge the presidential failures of his beloved late father, George Romney, who was governor of Michigan. And this could be the perfect opportunity for him. He still has the home in New Hampshire, I believe. He won the last New Hampshire primary, so he's well-known. Name recognition isn't a problem. Money isn't a problem. And if the Trump presidency melts down, having branded yourself as sort of the other, that's not a bad place to be in.
I guess we heard it here first.
You
Very
bet.
interesting.
And if I'm wrong, just forget you heard it here.
Exactly. All right, John, thank you.